From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, big kids, an update on childhood obesity in Nevada. My very special guest today is Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy at the Center for Science and the Public Interest. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Good to see you again. Nevada's children are growing more and more supersized. The state is now 16th in the nation for childhood obesity, and that is obese, not merely overweight. And today on Eye on Washington, we're going to find out why obesity rates in the U.S. have doubled in children and nearly quadrupled in adolescents since the 1980s. We're going to talk about the top concerns a physician at the University of Nevada School of Medicine says face Nevada's overweight and obese children. And we're going to ask my guest, Ms. Wootan, what she believes must happen on Capitol Hill, in our schools, and in our homes to help reverse this frightening health trend. Nevada's 16th place ranking translates to 33% of children ages 2 through 19 dealing with this health-threatening condition. And health-threatening is not at all an exaggeration. KUNR reported in the spring of 2015 that Dr. Stephanie Wright, a physician at the U of N School of Medicine, says children who are overweight or obese are at a greater risk for a variety of very serious diseases. Now, these include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and obstructive sleep apnea, bone and joint aches and pains, even at this very young age. Why? Well, why are our kids getting so fat and sick so young? I'm going to let my guest explain further, but playing the starring roles are video games and television instead of physical activity, supersized hamburgers, supersized everything, lots of sugar, nary a vegetable. Genetics and socioeconomic factors can play roles as well. And Ms. Wootan, first of all, welcome back to Eye on Washington. Great to have you here again.
Great to see you.
Wish we had more positive news, but we do have a lot to update our statewide viewers about and listeners as well today. First, we should point out what many consider good news. Childhood obesity rates nationally are not getting worse, but they're not getting a whole lot better either, are they?
Well, we're starting to see some progress, right? Initially, from the 1970s, obesity rates have been going up, and now they're starting to plateau. So leveling off is the first bit of good news. Okay. Now what we need to do is double down and get them to actually decrease at the rate that they increased before.
Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have reported recently that childhood obesity rates, like we said, have stopped increasing and essentially have leveled off over the past 5 years or so. That's good news. The bad news is that the rates have leveled off at a plateau that's still too high, right? Now, CDC reports point out childhood obesity remains a serious public health concern in the U.S. One in every 7 preschool child from a low-income household is obese, and those are millions of children, right, that are vulnerable to a host of diseases that I mentioned.
You know, a lot of people think about obesity as more a matter of appearance, right? We look in the mirror, we wish we were, 10 pounds thinner or more. We look at our kids, maybe think, oh, they're just a little pudgy. But what we need to recognize is that obesity is one of the most pressing public health problems facing the country. It's not a matter of appearance. It increases people's risk for heart attack, stroke, diabetes, kidney disease, and a whole host of other diseases. And it's so hard to lose weight once you gain it. The most important thing is to prevent that weight gain over time, to work with our kids to establish healthy eating and activity patterns that will help them be healthier while they're kids and throughout their lifetime.
And also, too, childhood obesity seems particularly troubling because those extra pounds that start off they start children on a path to diseases that we didn't used to see until adulthood, and certainly not all adults, but and even didn't hit until older adulthood.
Yeah, it means that we're seeing heart attacks, stroke, diabetes much younger. We don't even call
How young are you
type
seeing
2
heart
diabetes.
attacks?
Well, it's going not, you're not seeing heart attacks in 5-year-olds. What you're seeing is at
Teens?
an earlier age. So like with diabetes, we're starting to see type 2 diabetes in teenagers. That means that there's a longer time that they have diabetes, more chance for amputation, blindness, heart attacks, and the other problems that go along with diabetes.
At what age among obese children do you start seeing heart disease, different cardiovascular
You
problems?
start to see high blood pressure, and you start to see thickening of their arteries, clogging of their arteries. So that means maybe instead of getting a heart attack at 60, you see the heart attacks at 50. So it's aging everything down.
Wow.
And diseases like diabetes are really challenging for families of having to eat a special diet, get more activity at a young age.
We're almost out of time for this segment, but I wanted to quickly mention, some of the causes. As I said, one of the big ones is the supersizing and everything. And I think a lot of us remember that movie, Super Size Me, that Morgan Spurlock put together. My guest here is a star. She was actually in that movie. Rent it or go to Netflix or however you got to watch it, but you definitely want to see Miss Wootan in that. Because you did appear in that documentary. But the movie focused on one food chain's influence on the growing girth, but it's really about the consequences of long-term high-fat, high-sugar overconsumption of just a lot of calories from some bad food choices, isn't it?
Portion sizes have gotten bigger and bigger. First in restaurants, then at home. We don't even recognize what a healthy, normal portion size is. At restaurants, they often serve 2, 3, 4 times the number of calories that most of us really need. And lots of studies show when we're served bigger portions, we eat more. It means more calories, more saturated fat, more sodium, more us, bigger waistlines, and more obesity.
Okay, thanks. When we return, defining overweight and obesity. Is your child too heavy? What they and you can do about it. That's right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, NV Energy, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Rogich Communications Group, and Jim Marsh Automotive.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me. We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm gonna send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our look at Nevada's childhood obesity crisis and what my guests believe needs to be done to get our kids healthy again. She is Miss Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy at the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Well, 1 out of every 3 Nevada children is overweight or obese. So let's find out now if your child is among them or on the way there. First, I want to point out that not all children carrying extra pounds fit the definition. Some children have larger than average body frames, and children normally carry different amounts of body fat at various stages of their development. But if you are concerned, please see your doctor, who will calculate your child's body mass index, or BMI, and determine where it falls on the BMI for age growth chart. Using that growth chart, your doctor will determine your child's percentile, meaning how your child compares with other children of the same sex and age. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says BMI between the 85th and 94th percentiles is overweight. BMI in the 95th percentile and above classifies as obese, and expect a blood test for cholesterol and blood sugar as well. And again, Ms. Wootan, we should bear in mind BMI does not consider body frames. Some are more muscular than average. Children normally carry different body fats, as I said, at various ages. But otherwise, is it fairly obvious to a parent if your child is obese or overweight?
Surprisingly, it's not. Parents oftentimes don't recognize overweight and obesity in their own kids. So just go to a BMI calculator online, put in their height and weight, see how it looks. And if it's high, go see a dietitian or a doctor to get more advice. But for all kids, whether you're concerned or not, healthy eating and physical activity are so important. And so make sure your kid is getting lots of fruits and vegetables. Half their plate should be fruit or vegetable. That's a good rule of thumb.
So divide that plate in half, and then what do you want in the other 2 quarters?
And then the other 2 quarters, one should be lean protein, like chicken and fish and beans, and then the other should be whole grain. So brown rice or another whole wheat
grain
pasta.
bread, a whole grain.
And then maybe a cup of fat-free or low-fat milk to go with it. So a healthy diet.
What if they want a dessert? What do you recommend for a healthy dessert?
Well, I would say dessert needs to be a treat. A couple times a week, they can fit in something.
Can we fit in like a birthday, some cake, and?
Absolutely. You don't have to give up all sweets in order to be healthy. But the thing is we can't have them every day. We certainly can't have like a pastry for breakfast, a cookie at lunch, dessert after dinner, which is oftentimes what we do. Let's put treats back into that right place in the diet. They should be an occasional splurge on top of what's generally a healthy diet.
The American Association, Society of Pediatrics says children as young as 2 should be put on a diet if they're showing signs of overweight. Do you and your organization agree that a child as young as 2 years old should diet?
For most kids, the thing that's important is to focus on healthy eating and physical activity. Kids love to play and run around. Give them space and the opportunity to do that. Give them healthy foods and let them choose how much of them to eat. Don't push clean plate, eat everything that's there. Let kids decide how much to eat.
But
and
not
give
necessarily
them healthy
caloric
options.
restriction, not necessarily a diet for a child that young.
If you're concerned about, putting your child on a diet, it's best to talk with a health professional. For most of us, it's just about providing healthy foods and lots of opportunity for physical activity for our kids. The other thing to watch out for is too much sedentary activity, too much laying on the couch, video games, and TV. It's not only about how active you are, but it's also how much is your kid laying around. And sitting around too much isn't good for us either.
Okay, and we're going to get some more stuff on how to reduce, so you know what to do, some of the smarter lifestyle choices when we come back. When we do return, other factors contributing to childhood obesity. We're going to have the details for you next.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. the only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Merrily talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Merrily Joyce, Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
We're not a miracle drug. We're not a technology. We're not doctors. Just the hope, which can often be the best cure of all. The Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for seriously ill children and their families.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our show on childhood obesity in Nevada. We have our special guest with us today, Miss Margo Wootan. She is the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Well, it is bad enough that so many of Nevada's children are overweight or obese, but that's not all weighing these kids down. That annual Kids Count study is a measure of a variety of factors across 4 categories. They are economic well-being, education, health, and family and community. And Nevada in trouble in all 4 areas. The state's 49th for education, 40th for health, 44th for family and community. But Nevada Kids Count reports that the most critical issue for the Silver State's children is childhood poverty. The organization says 22% of Nevada children live in poverty, and that job loss, insurance loss, home loss, all very real things Nevada families have experienced since the start of the Great Recession, certainly exacerbate this poverty crisis. In a bit of good news, Nevada Kids Count does say that teen pregnancies and teen deaths have declined. The state ranked 49th in 2008 and 29th in 2014. But Ms. Wootan, this brings all of this back to nutrition. If you're poor, doesn't necessarily mean you're skinny. Studies seem to indicate that families with limited funds, they tend to buy, and a lot of food programs tend to offer, right? Mostly high calorie, high sodium, high fat, high processed foods, not vegetables and fruits and lean proteins. You did tell me during the break this is getting a little bit better, though there is a little more focus thanks to you and groups like yours.
Well, access to healthy food is a challenge, and affording that healthy food is a real challenge for low-income families. We've tried to make some changes that have been coming online. One of the most important is healthier school foods. We now have more fruits and vegetables and whole grains.
Vending machines are looking better, right?
Yep, and we've taken the soda and the candy bars out of the vending machines. So schools are getting better. Child care is also getting better. There are new nutrition guidelines for low-income kids who are in the child care setting, both in centers and at home. We also have some other new tools coming online for families. In another year or so, there'll be updated nutrition facts labels that are easier to read and give people information about added sugars. And when people go to fast food restaurants, there'll be calories on the menu starting in May, so you can make more informed choices for yourself and your kids when eating out.
Ms. Wootan, I know that you spend personally a lot of time working with the Congress on a lot of policies to help improve childhood nutrition, well, nutrition in general, but a lot of specific things that would help Nevada children and children nationally. Tell us about some things coming up in 2017 and also some recent work that you've done.
Well, we are seeing some policies finally come to fruition after, about a decade's worth of work. So healthier school foods, healthier food in childcare, getting trans fat out of the food supply, which is going to help reduce heart disease risk, updated nutrition facts labels. But I'm a little worried about some of these advances in the new Congress. We're not quite sure if they're going to continue to support and protect some of these advances in nutrition and food safety. So they've been talking about rolling back school nutrition standards, even though parents really like it. They've been talking about delaying the updates to nutrition labels so that people won't have.
What are the reasons?
It's really more conservative politics. A lot of times they say this isn't the role of the federal government.
I see.
But actually food companies prefer national policy. So it's good for the public health, and it's cheaper and easier for food companies to have one set of nutrition labels, one set of school nutrition standards, than to have different ones in every city, state across the country.
Okay, we're gonna pick up more on that, and when we return, just who is Margo Wootan, and why is she so sought by my program and others? We're gonna have details on her and her National Alliance for Nutrition and Activity, what it means for you and your children in Nevada as well. That's all coming up next.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money, and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Having your child hospitalized can be a terrifying experience for any parent. In one moment, everything can change. Here at the Reno Ronald McDonald House, we can help. We keep families together when it matters the most by providing a home away from home for families with children in the hospital. Parents who stay at the Ronald McDonald House have more time with their children during the healing process. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. We've learned so much about Nevada's childhood obesity problem from our special guest, Ms. Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center for Science and the Public Interest. So let's learn more about her now and find out why she's received numerous awards and is quoted regularly in the nation's major media. Margo Wootan is, as I said, the Director for Nutrition Policy at the Center for Science and the Public Interest. She's co-founder of the National Alliance for Nutrition and Activity, that is NANA, and the Food Marketing Work Group. She's coordinated and led efforts to require calorie labeling at fast food and other chain restaurants, require trans fat labeling on packaged foods, improve school foods, reduce junk food marketing aimed at children, and expand the nutrition and physical activity program at the CDC. And Ms. Wootan, I'm especially interested in your role in requiring labeling at fast food restaurants and also labeling, trans fat labeling on packaged foods. Huge national accomplishments.
You know, it can be very hard to make informed choices when you're eating out. Oftentimes you see two things, onion rings, French fries. They both seem like they're not that good a choice, but the onion rings actually have 300 more calories than French fries. And the only way to know that is if restaurants tell you. So with calorie labeling, people can make their own mind about how many calories they want to eat, how they want to spend their calorie budget for the day. And so that'll be going into effect in May this year in chain restaurants, supermarkets, movie theaters across the country.
You know, we read more and more about fat's the enemy, but they're omega fat, they're olive oil, etc. Some fats are good for you. And then we have this evil thing called a trans fat. And I don't know if my statewide viewers and listeners are really clear on, or any of us are, on what's different. What different oils are good for you, bad for you, never eat, sometimes eat?
So with trans fat, as the science grew showing that it contributes to heart disease and causes health problems, first we asked the FDA to label it, and then more and more science built, and now we've actually asked them to get manufacturers to take it out of food. And so the amount of trans fat in the food supply as a result of this work has dramatically decreased, so people are less at risk for heart disease than they were in the past.
There's always so much to talk about, and we are out of time, but you're going to keep working with the Congress, I'm assuming, and staying on top of this.
Still so much to do to help make it easier for Americans to eat well and feed their families well.
And helping our Nevada and national children. We don't want them having diabetes at age 2, 3, 4 at all, or any of us, right? Thanks so much for being here again today.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to having you on the show again, and hopefully better news for Nevada kids coming up. That does wrap it up for today's Eye on Washington, but we are always here for you. Just go to our website. It's joycecommunications.com. While you're there, please check out all the federal issues that impact Nevadans. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter. Catch any shows you may have missed on our YouTube page. Thanks again for joining us on Eye on Washington. I am Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a great day.